Hi again. Another alarm device used very commonly in houses, in house alarms, is shock sensor. Shock sensor basically responds to the shock. So if this will be usually placed on the window somewhere or the door frame, and if somebody's trying to knock the window off or door to break into the house, it will trigger that. It's very simple actually alarm, a type of device, not alarm, sorry. uh, and it requires analyzer. Let's explain. Uh, those type devices have a relay kind of thing, so they latch into state when it's open and go back to state when it's closed. This one is that simple. It doesn't have a relay. This particular one has a built-in contact, magnetic contact. There's a tiny device there. So some of those connectors, two of those connectors are connected to this tamper. I already explained what a tamper is. Two middle ones are connected to the shock sensor, and the other two are connected to the magnetic contact. So you can wire them together, treating shock sensor and contact as a one device, and tamper as a tamper, and then you can. So this, in this case, if you wiring contact and a shock sensor, so this will be your both of them together. Each of them can open, so you will have basically, instead of having, so this one switch will be built in as two switches together. So you have those two switches in it. So this will be equal this. You will have those two switches in series, being that magnetic contact and a shock sensor. As I said, they require analyzer, or maybe I didn't say, because latch sensors and the devices, they have a relay which switches and then switches back. This one doesn't switch, it's changing resistance, and it's a good thing that I have, the one I have here is transparent, so we can see actually how it looks inside, as long as I will get it out of that holding bracket. I hope you can see that. There are two kind of tiny rods on which there sits the kind of brass barrel, and if you shake it, which means when you hit it or hit the frame, this barrel jumps on those tiny, see those two rods here? I hope you see. Two rods which go then to those two wires, and there's a tiny barrel, so if you shake it, it will jump on those rods, causing either disconnection or resistor kind of high resistance once you shake it. And it's that simple device. The thing is with those that you have to place them in proper way, because otherwise it won't work. So typically you have to place it in a way. Some of them will have arrow here. This one has an arrow. You won't see it because it's on transparent material, so you don't see this arrow pointing to this direction. So it has to be placed like that. So if you're placing that on the window, you cannot place it like that. It won't work. It will be constantly open if you put it like that. It has to be like that, or like that. They're not like that, sorry. Always arrow pointing to the top. And this thing can be switched around. So if you putting your device like that, so maybe not, can be put like that. Actually could, but you have to turn around that arrow 180 degrees, so always arrow points to the top. Yeah, so sorry, I was wrong. You can put it like that, you can, just you have to turn around that arrow. If you put it like that, you have to again turn around, that arrows always points to the top. So if we put it like that, somewhere on the frame, arrow, you don't see that maybe, but arrows pointing to the top, and those two rods at the bottom, and the barrel always has to sit on the top. But most of those, they won't be transparent, so you won't see. This will be white plastic, and you just see the arrow. That's what the arrow means. The barrel sits on the top, so you have two rods at the bottom, barrel at the top, so it has to be like that. If you put it like that, you have to turn again, arrow to the top, so that barrel sits on the top of those rods all the time, depending how you're fitting that. Wiring the game, as I explained, the same as another device, with this difference that in this one you can combine two devices in one, which is contact and that shock sensor in series. So resistor, this resistor, so this equals this, so resistor goes here across those two. So any one opening will cause an alarm because they are in series, and for no alarm both have to be closed, and then resistor is shorted and we see only tamper resistor. Tamper works exactly the same, and as I said, for those, because they don't have a relay, you need analyzer. Sometimes you can buy analyzers as a additional zone expander or something like that for the panel, but a lot of panels will have the zones analyzed, like HAC panel and the panels. There was in the manual will say the zones are analyzed, or will tell you which zones, to which zones you can connect those devices and have them analyzed, so they properly latch and so on. Yeah, because this will just go back to the normal hit, and it will go back instantly. Yeah. Also on those zones you will have gross and pulse settings. So pulse, it's how many times, and gross is how strong. So you can adjust sensitivity for those in the panel. What else should I say about them? Obviously in old house installations, well, maybe not obviously, but in Ireland and UK, I think, old house installations, you will have every window and door on one side on one cable. So all those devices would be connected in series. So you wouldn't have those resistors for dual end of line on each device. You will have all those devices. So instead of having this, you will have, like, I don't know, plenty of those devices connected together. And then a resistor. So a lot of old installations, you will have multiple windows and doors on one cable as a one zone. So you have to be aware of that. And because they all have to be closed for the zone to not be in alarm. And even if one opens, the zone goes into alarm. Typically they would wire one side of the house, like all the windows on one side, with one cable looped from one window to another, from one door to another. And that's it. I think that's all regarding the shock sensors. A very simple, the most probably basic devices, except for contact itself. There's not much, there's no electronics in them really. It's just that magnetic reed and that mechanical shock sensor, because it's mechanical, you need to shake it. And that's it. Thank you.